在我们之前的单元，我们常常提到了幽默的重要性。那今天想要来分享一个小技巧，让学会美式幽默不再是个谜。Hello， 欢迎来到 Executive Plus 主管与沟通力的 Podcast。I'm Sherry, an educator, certified coach, and style enthusiast. 我相信专业有效的沟通是语言跟逻辑的完美结合。
And I'm Nick, a startup consultant, corporate trainer, and late-night gaming junkie. I believe great communication requires the right mindset and solid frameworks.
我们希望带给大家职场英语的技能、跨文化沟通技巧与其他能帮助您成为出色领导者的工具。
Join us each week as we share our experience, research, and methodologies to take your communication and language skills from good to great. Hey everybody, welcome back to another Executive Plus podcast. Today's episode is going to be short, but a lot of fun. We want to talk about how to use the power of three to subvert expectations and write a great joke.
So recently, I came across this book. It's called LOL 101. LOL 如果大家都常常看过很多美剧的话，大家都会知道，就是 Laugh Out Loud 的一个 acronym. So 这本书其实那个作者他是写给小孩子看的，就是让小孩子知道怎么样来写笑话. And I thought it was really interesting because I've done so many episodes on how stand-up comedian, deliver their joke or how having humor is really important and it ties into like how charismatic you can be. But we never really fully talked about how to be humorous. I guess it's really difficult to teach that part. It's just kind of innate. But since we came across this book today and we figured that, hey, we can start teaching you or sharing with you guys on one of the tips on how to write good jokes.
Now, in communication, we very often talked about the power of three, whether it's in rhetorical devices or in speech and presentation structure. But in this case, the power of three is something that you can use against your audience in terms of they're very often used to a list of three things. And so when it comes to joke writing and creating a joke that really throws people off is you make a list, but you take that third thing and you just make it crazy different because they know it's coming, but that's what throws them off because they know that like, okay, 1, 2, 3, A, B, and C. And then when you make and C really throw them off, that's when they wake up and pay attention.
Yeah. So, and also it ties in with like the element of surprise, right? The unexpected. And if you watch any comedian, stand-up comedian, you will find that they use this quite a lot.
Yeah. Any great stand-up comedian will constantly do what we call subvert your expectations, which is I have like a common idea of your list and what should be on that list. And then that third thing is why it's funny is because I didn't expect it coming.
Right.
So an example of this may be something like, my favorite winter activities are skiing, snowboarding, and crying in the bathtub.
I think it's really funny. Okay, here's my question though. Why can't we make it 4? Does it lose its rhythm or something?
The power of three always makes a nice like bounce.
Yeah.
A, B, and C. If you make this really, really long list, then sometimes people just kind of like, oh yeah, and then they get out of it. But the three always just comes like the first thing, okay, it makes sense. The second thing, it makes sense. The third thing, wait, what?
That's very true. Another really good example is, let's do this together. We want to tell a joke about my nightmares. So first thing you do is actually list out 2 things you actually have nightmares about. So for me, it would be walk around naked. I had that nightmares multiple times. Also forgetting things. Running around, forgetting things. That's like my nightmare. So you would list out 2 things that you're actually afraid of. And the third thing you can think about what bothers you about your family members. And for me is, I'll be very honest here, my dad talked about his bowel movement. So you would put it together, it would be like, my nightmares are walking naked, forgetting things, running around, and my dad's bowel movement.
Yeah. So the first thing are probably dreams that everyone has had, right? It's normal to be like, oh, everyone's had the naked dream. You just feel very vulnerable. And then the second one is, again, something like when you feel anxious, lost, you can't find things. Like these are two nightmares or common things that people really, really hate. And then the third thing is just like, oh, okay, that's maybe too much personal information. But again, it subverts expectation and makes someone feel like it's totally normal. So in the case of the rule 3, it's always use something that other people can get on board with. So one of the other powers of the rules of 3 is that your audience should connect with you on the first two things. They should be common problems or common, even like things that make people happy. So in the first one we talked about, it's like my favorite winter activities. Like people can connect with that. Oh, skiing, snowboarding, or like snowball fight.
Making snow angels.
Yeah, making snow angels. Like these are things that people can be like, oh, that's nice.
That's
and then when you
sweet.
hit them with the third thing, they're like, oh, okay.
Dark.
It's either dark or it's something that, even if they connect with it, it's like something they wouldn't say.
I think there is that element of, again, like that self-deprecating humor is also in here as well, because normally you wouldn't tell anyone like, oh, I'm crying in my bathtub or what I'm embarrassed about from my family members, you know, but you're sharing that. So it's like a self-deprecating humor.
Actually, my favorite comedian who made a lot of one-liners, he didn't always use the rule of 3, but he does quite very often, is Mitch Hedberg. So you can look him up on YouTube. Unfortunately, he passed away a long time ago. But he would very often use this thing in order to set up a joke that you would think is quite normal and then switch it on you. So my favorite joke of his is he says, I don't have a girlfriend, but I know a woman who would be really angry if she heard me say that.
Oh, I love that.
And so this kind of thing, again, where it's like that premise is something that people can connect with or it makes a lot of sense. And then when you get in the second one, people just have to think about it. That would be, at least for me, my favorite version of these is there's a lot of comedians out there who have like one-liners. And Mitch Hedberg does this all the time.
但我觉得他们相同性都是在句子的前半部，他们都是 laid out 一个 context， 让你觉得好像他会往一个 direction 走，但是在后面那一半部，他就会把它转一个方向。
Yeah, a really good comedian is someone you will know it's coming.
Yeah.
Like you know that's their style of comedy, but they always have a way of just flipping it around. A long version of this type of joke or this type of comedy comes from George Carlin. George Carlin, by many comedians, is considered one of, if not the greatest comedian to ever be alive. And he does this all the time. So he talks about how global warming, back then when he was alive, it was global warming, not climate change. But he talks about how it's such a stupid conversation. And he sets up all these things, people talking about global warming. And then he turns it around. He turns around the expectation. He's like, because the Earth will be fine. It's actually us who has the problem. So when he sets up, like most people think it's like, oh, he's a climate denier. He has all of these different issues and they'll, start to get angry at him. But then he'll just flip the connotation. He'll flip the context from it's because we're talking about the wrong thing. And that's just like an extended version. So if you look up George Carlin and global warming on YouTube, you'll see like a masterful long version of this. Subverting expectations. You set up a premise that everyone agrees with, and then you flip it into something they didn't expect. And then the same thing for Mitch Hedberg is it's just one-liners. You know it's coming. You know he's going to flip it. So using this type of joke structure in the power of 3 allows anyone to tell this type of joke, where it's like normal, oh, I didn't expect that.
那我觉得我们今天其实讲到的从 The Rule of Three 开始，这个有点比较像那种小学版本啦。大家如果想要开始尝试来讲个英文笑话的话，你可以自己来再自己尝试写写看。那我们今天其实讲到的这些不同的 technique， 你可以把它想成 The Rule of Three 好像是那种 elementary version 的比较最简单的。如果你 比较不太确定自己能不能在这种场合啊用英文说笑话的话 I think you can give it a try. 但如果你想要进阶一点 go for advanced level and you can definitely go and observe these comedians and how they do it and how they kind of change your expectation.
We hope you enjoyed this fun joke episode and join us more for LOL 101. Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
The Executive Plus podcast is a Presentality Group production, produced and hosted by Sherry Fang and Nick Howard. You can search us on Facebook, 主管英文 Executive Plus. You can also find us on Instagram, Communication R&D, and email us at sherry@epstyleplus.com.